I've gone through many different stages of anger and many different stages of being angry. I've learned a lot of different things. One of the things that I've learned is it's okay to be angry, and actually, anger can be strength when used correctly. You have to learn how to use your anger for you and not let it be against you. Use your anger in a way that is going to help you and not hurt you. But if anger comes from insecurity, if it comes from trauma, and you don't understand why you are angry, you're going to allow it to hurt you. Because you're going to be triggered. You're going to be triggered by everything. The world, the way the wind blows, the way somebody looked at you, what they said, what they didn't say. Because your anger, you're really hurting, and your anger is a way, it's like protection. It's a way of protecting yourself without revealing that you're hurt. So really, you're putting up walls. We need anger. It should not be something ever that is completely removed from society. Without anger, nothing will ever lead into action. So you need anger. Even if you feel a certain way that's like compassionate towards something, you have compassion, you have empathy, you need to be angry about something that is intertwined with your compassion or with your empathy. So you need something that's going to take you into that place of action. Because if you're hurting about something, if something hurts you and you feel compassionate towards it, you feel compassion for something, usually you're angry about it. You're usually angry about the situation. So anger is a good thing. Anger is always, always a good thing when it's understood. And when you can understand your anger, and when you can understand why. Why are you angry? It's actually mind-blowing how many people do not understand what they are angry about. You will go through your whole life being angry at your parents, being angry at the world, being angry at your siblings, being angry at, your boss, your manager, your friends, yet never understand why you're truly angry. Where does that come from? So you have to try and figure that out. In order to try and figure that out, you have to sit with your anger and face it. It's not always easy to do. There's different stages of anger in our life across a lifetime. And when I was in high school, my anger was very different than the kind of anger I feel now. I'm almost 40 years old, 38 years old. So the anger that I will feel in my 40s, completely different than the anger that I felt at 15, at 13, at 15, at 18. And the anger that I felt at 15, completely different than the anger that I felt at 20, 21, 25. All valid, all purposeful, normal, and it doesn't have to be something that is shameful to be angry about things. Your anger is showing you something that you're not paying attention to. It's showing you a truth that you have yet to acknowledge. And you have to learn to pay attention. So, when I was in high school and I was angry, a lot of it came from things that I could not control. I'm angry about my situation, my home life. I cannot change it. You're angry at your parents, you can't change your parents. So at 21, I was angry with where I was in life. I was angry that I was angry. I was angry that I was angry at 21. I was angry that I didn't feel only joy about no longer living in a toxic environment. I thought, I'm supposed to only feel joy. I'm not supposed to be angry. And that's another really big one. If you feel like you should not be angry, it's useless. That is useless. To just feel like I have complete control over my life. Why am I angry? Well, you realize that leaving home does not mean that the world is not toxic, that people are not deeply flawed and full of the same kind of issues as the people who you grew up with. You realize that there's no getting away from it. There's no escapism. There's no escaping it. You think that you're going to escape. I'm going to escape from this. I'm going to get away. And it slowly sinks in that the life that you thought doesn't exist. The world that you thought exists doesn't exist. You know? And you realize that people are deeply flawed, and it is not limited to just your environment. If you grew up poor, you think, well, definitely when I get out of this environment, I'm around people who are more educated, who have seen different sides of life, who have traveled. I will meet people who are open-hearted, who are kind, who have depth and can hold conversation, who can offer knowledge and insight, and you think that you're going to see this other side of life just because you are out of your little bubble, which if you grew up poor, that's the bubble. Grew up poor in a broken home, toxic environment. Not everybody in the world is backstabbing and resentful and envious. I knew that wasn't true to a certain extent because I had met people out of, who lived a different kind of life, who still had those issues. But you just think that the world's going to open up to you and you're going to see a different side of life, and that is not as toxic. That doesn't exist. That's not the reality. So you're angry. Anger for a teenager is so useful when it is controlled and when it is directed in a good place, directed towards a good place. Take all that anger and start a rock band. So purposeful, so useful. I've learned to be proud of my anger. So much that I care about, I get angry about. I deeply care. I deeply care that I want things a certain way. I deeply care that things are not a certain way. I deeply care that I grew up a certain way, and I know that that was not okay. So my anger allows me to see it for what it is and not shy away from it. Because I got angry about it. I got angry about it instead of going into acceptance. Don't do that. Don't go into acceptance because it's not okay. Get angry about it. Feel anger because your situation is not okay. Because it is not okay to be hurt by those who are supposed to love you. It is not okay to be bullied, to be abused. But learning to use your anger to create, to transform, to educate, to build, to help others, to find truth. So, anger can absolutely be a strength, just like every other emotion. When it is sat with, understood. I dropped my son off at school not too long ago. I'm angry that people are bad drivers. Not just bad drivers. I'm angry that people are inconsiderate drivers. Does it ever dawn on you that people can have children in the car? Or even if there's no children in the car, that's another human being driving a car and you're being reckless and inconsiderate. Do you not understand that something could happen? You can get into an accident. You could end somebody's life. I'm angry about that. I'm angry that people live in this state of mind where it's carelessness, recklessness. For what? To save 5 minutes? Potentially ending somebody's life because you get into a car accident. Because you're running late to work. You don't have the capacity to understand that this could happen. Because you're being careless. I'm angry about people who move through the world with such carelessness. Among other things. Many, many other things. But after you have children and you're driving, you're like, people they're not considerate. They're careless, reckless. Not just with their life, but with the lives of others. Because you are potentially going to affect the lives of others. When you are in your car, obviously, when you're behind the wheel, you can kill somebody. I have to actively try not to think about what could go wrong. I mean, it could just be my anxiety, so. But, like those kinds of thoughts. I'm very aware of the fact that this is not, we're going at speeds that are, any little thing could happen. Like we are, any little thing can happen and it can cause anything could happen. Just being cautious and being aware of the situation, having consideration, and not being so careless with your acts and your actions. So taking a little bit more responsibility. So I get angry about that. And that anger forces me into, I don't have road rage or anything like that. I think that's like useless. And, it's very like, just like with many other things, controlled anger as it should be. But there's anger absolutely there. And it's like for the carelessness, just the carelessness, recklessness, carelessness. And it's just, it makes me more aware of my surroundings. And it makes me take more accountability for the time that when I'm behind the wheel. And also that anger allows me to be more observant and allows me to kind of do like the pattern recognition thing, behavior, what do they call it? Like behavior recognition. I don't know. I forgot what it's called, but it allows all of that and allows me to understand things in a different kind of way, right? So without that anger, maybe without the anger would be more carelessness. Maybe without that anger, maybe, but it's purposeful. Now, anger, just like rage, you know, just having full blown rage is not when you're driving. It's not, it's doing the complete opposite. So, but being angry and being able to tell somebody who's drinking and driving, without anger, you're too laid back. You don't care. You're not going to be in the position to tell somebody, hey, you're drinking. Don't get behind the wheel. Like, you have to have anger. You have to have anger at, what do you mean? What do you mean you're going to drink and drive? No. No. Like, you can't do that. Like, what are you talking about? Anger. Like, what do you mean you're going to be texting while you're driving? No. What do you mean you're going to just anger? Anger used productively, basically. So, I've been thinking a lot about my anger and a lot about the different stages of my anger in my life. And as I've gotten older, high school anger, 20s anger, 30s, and now I'm 38, about to be 40. I'm sure when I'm 60, my anger will be different than the anger that I have. I guess it's what do they call it? Stigma. There's stigma around these things. And it shouldn't be that way because it's useful purpose in the world. Going to allow things to be moved into a place that is productive and action instead of just anger that just sits and festers and rots and takes everything else around it with it. Decays, burns things down, instead allowing it to build something beautiful, allowing it to create. It has purpose. It has a lot of purpose, and it's a strength. And it's taking a long time. It's taken a long time for me to, accept mine, see it for what it is. I've struggled with it, ups and downs, and the journey of understanding it and giving it a place, a space, a purpose, and then allowing it to transform what is, or what could have been, ugly and broken, and allowing it to create something with purpose and beauty.